We'll have one more question, then we'll break for our
Cool.
sponsor. You know, speaking of, you were out in the West Coast at Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was near Huntington Beach
Yeah.
with the PGF, and I had a nice conversation with Coach Stoll. She was there looking at some Arizona talent.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully that will be a future teammate of yours. And she shared a story about your mom being an All-American playing at Michigan, and your dad playing at Michigan also, and 12 seasons in the Major League Baseball. Actually, I'm so thankful that his last stop was Arizona Diamondbacks, because that's how
Yeah.
you ended up here. And then your siblings being very athletic. So I started thinking, man, I wonder if growing up with an All-American softball player and a Major League Baseball player as a dad, she probably didn't even realize it, but there was probably a lot of competitiveness going on at home. And then when they were probably coaching you, they were probably a little bit extra intense, and you just thought it was probably the norm. You think all that competitiveness, all that intensity and enthusiasm got you prepared to really make a big impact for Big Blue right away?
100%. I do think growing up, I was very lucky to grow up with two very athletic parents and three athletic siblings who were always around. So I feel like the competitiveness definitely helped in the long run without even realizing it. You know, growing up, you're competing with, I have a twin sister, so I'm competing with her all the time. And then my two younger siblings, brother and sister, obviously we all play very different sports. So it's just, you kind of compete in that way, like, oh, who's the better at this sport? Who's the better at this sport? And I grew up playing with my sister all the time, volleyball, softball, soccer, all that stuff. So always having that competitive nature. And then, like you said, my mom did coach me from 12 to 14. So always having that voice in my head. She was always very nitpicky about everything. So
Attention to detail.
very attention to detail. So anything about fielding, hitting, running, throwing, anything like that, there was always, oh, you can do better. You can do better. Never like, oh, good job. Like, okay, that's fine. Do better. You can be better. Be better. And then it kind of just like stuck in my brain. And then when my mom wasn't coaching me and my dad helped out, like as an assistant coach, like he wouldn't really get mad at me for things or like really nitpick anything because he was just a pitcher. So he doesn't really know the whole hitting stuff or all the, where my mom was a slapper and a power hitter. And
He just knows how to strike him out.
Yeah, he just knows how to throw.
You probably made him upset because he couldn't strike you out. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably, we'll see.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I just having that voice in my head of my mom, like, oh, you can do better, be better, be better, and that's why I'm so hard on myself, because I have that little voice in my head, and I feel like if nobody's gonna tell me, I'm just gonna tell myself, like, oh, I made this mistake, I can do this. I made this mistake, I need to fix this. And so definitely that helped, the competitive nature and just preparing me for like the mental battles in college ball and just trying to stay calm in the moment and not get too ahead of myself.
And then I was thinking, with all that training, right? And then I know you got coached by some great tough coaches here in Arizona, and it's 115, 112. So I think the Arizona softball players in general are pretty gritty because of what the conditions they face year round, and they benefit from the good weather. Even though sometimes it's like an oven because they get to play a lot. So anyway, so I'm thinking, oh, when she showed up at Michigan, she was so well prepared that she probably didn't even know how well prepared she was until maybe like, when did you know, holy cow, all this has paid off more so than the norm?
I would say in the fall. I know I talk about the fall a lot, but in the fall is like, it's your intro to college ball and like how a college team acts and how they play against other teams like at their college stadium. So I would say fall ball first game I was able to start, and I started in like the 6 or 5 hole. I was just hitter and just hitting my first triple that game and just like getting on base, keeping it simple. And I feel like that's where I really like got my bearings of, okay, I'm in college and I can do this. Like
It's just a game, right? That's what your
It's
parents
just
taught you.
softball.
You were saying that before when we were talking, that your parents say, hey, no matter what, remember, it's just a game. What were you saying to me?
I would say they did tell me it's nothing more than just softball. You know how to play softball, so just go out and play softball. Like nothing's changed. All that's changed is the speed and the power. Like nothing else has changed. Like it's still the same fundamentals. It's still the same like ideas and everything you know about softball. It hasn't changed. So just like keeping it simple and doing what I know how to do best. And I feel like that definitely prepared me the most for this college level. And I feel like that's definitely where I thrived, with having both my parents' voices in my ear and just trying to stay calm. I also work with a mental coach on the outside. And so having her also in my mind, just like, okay, like keep your mind, keep your composure, like all this stuff. Like you can do hard things. Like I've done hard things to get here, and I'm going to continue to do hard things to stay here. So it's just about, it's like an ever changing battle, and you just have to stay composed through it.
I've always thought it's something like you want to have a sense of urgency. You want to do great, but when you're not making the progress that you want, you got to give yourself a little bit of grace, but keep pushing yourself.
Yes.
I would think there's some kind of balance there.
Yeah, I'd say so. I definitely had to understand that because there were some times we would play some teams, some very tough teams, and you don't hit as well as you want to against these good pitchers. And you just have to take a step back and take a deep breath, talk to your hitting coach. I would talk to my hitting coach almost every single day after a game, go through film with her and see what I'm doing wrong, figure out it's just like a mindset thing, talk to my mental coach and figure it out. And then you come into the game and you just like put that work to the game and you exceed and you just fix your mistakes.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Where I don't know about all that techie details in film, but the idea is if you were struggling or you face some adversity, the answer is, all right, pick yourself up, put in the work, and then you'll have another opportunity, and that's how you improve.
Yeah, 100%.